The GOOGAN Gold, the GOOGAN Green. Are they worth your time and money? I've had them for 6 months. Let's talk about it. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Fishing with Gramps, presented by American Legacy Fishing Company. In this episode, we're going to give our 6-month review of the GOOGAN Gold line of rods and the GOOGAN Greens. Are they worth your time, effort, and money? Now, if you're new to the channel, brand new to fishing, or a returning angler looking for some tips, tricks, reviews, and how-tos, hey, you've come to the right spot. Back in February, I bought a couple of GOOGAN Gold rods. And in March, added another, and then added a couple of greens. Now, it was before bass season really kicked off here in southern Indiana. I did a couple of videos going over the specs, the costs, where you get them from, so forth and so on, and said I would follow up after I put them through their paces to let you know whether or not I thought they were worth the money. And let me say again, as I did back then, I was impressed by Catchco and the GOOGAN squad when they came out with their little rating system for new anglers. It's actually genius. Give the rod a type, say what it's for, and then come out with bait bundles specifically geared toward those types of rods. For example, we have the GoTo rod here, and a lot of the things that they talked about for GoTo is your basic, your fundamental. If you were only going to have one bait casting rod, it would be the GoTo. And so things in the bundles they had were the basics, the stuff that pretty much any new angler that's picking up and learning bait casting is going to be able to throw. Spinnerbaits, Texas rigs, those basic things to get you started. It's really nice that they came out with combos like that. And I actually did some reviews on some of those as we went through the testing of these rods throughout the summer. And as I said back then, I am completely impressed with how light these rods are. So let's go over each of the rods, what I used them for, how I fished them, and how much I enjoyed them or not. What were the pros, what were the cons? I'll start with the GoTo. It's the most basic, it's the most common, it is the one rod that you would pick up if you wanted to cover the most bases. And I actually threw a little bit of everything on this. I threw Bandito Bugs Texas rigged, I threw spinnerbaits, I threw my beloved chatterbait on it. You can do a little bit of everything, but if you're gonna have one, they properly named this the GoTo. Now, the difference between the greens and gold, a few bucks in price difference, but different accents. This is more, I could say that you can, catch somebody's eye with a little more fancier if you like the gold flake in the grips here, the black and gold accents. It looks nice. I actually had these rods paired up with Lew's Custom Pro reels, and it made for a great looking combo. We know at the industry that the manufacturers love making combos that pop and go together. Those green and blacks, those black and oranges. We see a lot of those common in other manufacturers. Well, I was playing the game too by putting the Lew's Custom Pros on here, and the color combo looked really good. And as you can see when I'm catching fish right here, I was throwing a chatterbait on this one. That Custom Pro looks really good on this. And like I said, I threw all kinds of different baits on this thing, and it worked flawlessly. The blank is really light. The carbon fiber that's used in these blanks was sourced in Japan. I couldn't tell you where they rolled these blanks at. It's hard to get into all that. The guides were quality. Everything on the rod held up well. Like I said, one of the cons may be that you don't like some of the aesthetics of it. To me, I found the actual, the grip, the ergonomic grip that they came up with was very comfortable. The click-on reel seat never slipped. My rod stayed true the whole time. I'm one of those who will often cast, two-handed if I'm trying to make a long cast. Even the ergonomic butt grip on this thing was actually really well designed. I mean, I was really surprised at how impressed I was with this rod at that price point. If you're a member of the online place that Catchco sells their stuff, you get these at a good discount. Now, I know that you can find these in Dick's now. So if you've got the coupons and the, $20 off or whatever, you can still save money on these too. So now, who do these appeal to? Well, obviously, the people who are fans of the GOOGAN squad themselves. In stores, you'll have some folks pick them up because they think they look nice and like it. And again, they're comfortable in the hand. They're very light. They look pretty nice. Now, you're going to have a group of people that are going to hate them just because of who they're associated with. They wouldn't give these the time of day. I'm not that guy. I'm trying to fish all this stuff so I can give you informed, honest opinions by using this stuff because I can, and then tell you whether I think it's worth it or not. So this was the go-to. It's the do everything rod, and it really did everything I asked it to do. Next up, we had the beefcake, the muscle rod. The big bait smackdown, great for throwing frogs. I use this a lot for throwing those juicy jigs with bandito bugs on it. And again, it's awesome. It's very lightweight. I also had a custom probe on this one. A little heavier line, that 17-pound Abrasics. Even though I still couldn't catch a dang frogfish, I don't know why those things still elude me. I did catch a lot of good fish on this throwing jigs, and that's what I primarily use this for, was casting jigs out, tried a ton to catch frogfish. I wrenched a lot of bass out of around pads and under boat docks. Sadly, I don't have any good film on it. It seems like the days I caught fish on this thing, my SD card got corrupt or my cameras were overheating.
Hold up. Hey.
Do I have a bite? I sure do. Oh, that's a good fish. He's pulling a little. Oh, come here, big boy. Look at you. All right. What a stud. Look at that fish. If you go back and watch every video I put out over the winter on why the jig is my favorite bait, or me talking about a jig, look at that bass right there. What a behemoth. Probably 3 or 4 pounder. Man, what a beautiful fish. Almost a 4 pounder. Really good fish for up here in southern Indiana. Thanks for playing, homie. Whoop. But to me, being a guy who throws jigs a ton, this thing was really awesome. Now, I actually took all 5 of these rods out and fished a tournament with them and had pretty good success. It was the middle of summer, but it is what it is. But they all performed just as I expected them to. Now, do I have other rods that I use for my tournaments primarily? Of course I do. But if you're younger or just getting started and this is in your price range, and again, you're a fan of the green and black, I understand why you would want this. It's a very nice rod. Again, I love the ergonomic fit. The cork on these is really nice. And I had no problem at all with these rods at all. They held up very, very well. I'm again surprised at what you get at this price point, especially when you get it the cheapest from their online store. It's just amazing. Next up, I had the finesse rod. Again, a Lew's Custom Pro on it because, you know, gold, black and gold, it matched the whole way through. I was actually, with that combo, I was more impressed with the rod than I was with the Lew's Custom Pro reel. I don't know why I'm such a stickler with matching colors like that, but hey, it made for a nice looking combination. I threw through a lot of shaky heads, fluke style baits, the rattling Ned, those really slow finesse type presentations. GOOGAN Squad has a lot of good different baits, and again, they make packages just so you can say, hey, I want a finesse kit, and they have them available. Again, I love this branding system, especially for new anglers. And one of the things you notice about the folks who support the GOOGAN Squad, they sell the rods, the reels, they fish them, and they actually fish the baits they sell. There's other companies that sell bait bundles, but their own pros, they tell you how to fish them, but I don't see those guys on the water catching fish with the baits they sell all the time. I always thought that was kind of weird, but you know, I guess it is what it is. But the thing is with the GOOGAN Squads and their fans, you will see them and their followers catching a ton of fish. The baits flat out work. You can say, oh, this is not soft, that's not, whatever, they catch fish. And it's going to come down to your personal preference, your taste, what you like or what you don't like. Everything that I've thrown, that I've bought from GOOGAN Squad baits, catches bass. And I've got the videos up to show it. You literally watched me on Easter pitch a jig with a bandito bug into a brush pile and pull out a 5-pound bass. That's a good fish here in southern Indiana. That kind of stuff speaks to themselves. There's a lot of different companies that make a lot of different baits. Find what suits you. If you're fishing to be a fan, hey, that's cool. If you're just looking for stuff to go out and fish with, that's what this channel's for. Because I'm trying to bring you all the different brands that I can find and try to fish, tell you what I think of it, show you whether I catch fishing with them or not. But again, extremely light, very well balanced with the reel on it. Super impressed. Now, if you ask me if I had to choose green versus gold, well, the green are a little less expensive. I'm a sucker for black and green because I have a black and green boat. The differences between those, this is not quite as light, but it's not really that much that you wouldn't notice. It's got the same branding markers on it. One of the cool features I liked about this line of rods, it's got this ruler on it so you can actually measure your fish right there while you're bank fishing. You don't have to carry a board or anything if you don't want to. You can just lay your fish right against the blank. I thought that was clever. One of the things I also really liked is at the end of the rod where you see this green, that is the action of the rod. You can see that's where it's painted is where it's going to bend. That's really kind of slick. Down at the handles, they have the EVA foam handles. Same ergonomic grips, so you get the same, for me, two-hand casting if you want to really give it an extra, pop out there. But again, fits really well in the hand. Same clicky reel seat, very nice. It's again maybe a little more aesthetics if you want for the price point. Now, if I had to choose one over the other, the green versus the gold, I like the green. For the value, for what you get it for, it's a really, really good rod. I use this rod. It's a reaction rod. I threw a chatterbait on this a ton and caught a lot of fish. That's a better fish. Come here. Now, some people would say, oh, you should use the GoTo for your chatterbaits. That's mixed opinion. I like a little extra give in the rod for chatterbaits. It helps keeping you pull the bait away from the fish too fast before they actually get it down into their mouth and exhale and try to crush it. This gives you that little bit more of a pause before you drive the hook in. It lets them suck it all the way in, exhale that water out through their gills, and then they try to crush it, and that's when you really want to set the hook into them. But I mean, I love this rod for throwing a chatterbait on it. The GoTo Gold did perfectly as well, but for me, I love me some chatterbait, and this was a great rod for it. Then I also had this, finesse. I had two finesse rods. One was like my Ned / shaky head. And then here you can see I've still got my beloved lunker log on there, and this combo caught a ton of fish. I might have a fish there. I sure do. Another good one. All right, another great fish. Let's go. I've got a Lose. I started out with a Lose Mach 2 and a Lose Mach 2 reel on the other two, but as you know, I gave those away in drawings. I had this other Lose reel I put on this one. Oh, you might be wondering, but you gave away a Lose reel and a GOOGAN green spinning rod. Yep, sure did. I bought the winner a brand new and it shipped it to him from the website. I wanted to keep this one for myself. But again, has the ruler on it. And here at the end, you see the green, you see the action. So my honest opinion on both of these sets of rods and reels, personally, if you don't care about the color and you were only looking at the price, I would say go for the green. It feels just as good, it fishes just as good. You can't tell the difference at all. Really in the weights, I mean, really you might be able to if you measured them, but when you put reels on them and start fishing them, it really doesn't matter. But again, I'm a homer for the black and the green. I have a black and green boat. I'm actually going to keep both of these green rods for the boat. That way if I have a guest in the boat or I'm just out fun fishing and don't want to use my tournament gear, then I still have these. But these will stay in the boat, especially for when I take guests out. Give them rods to use. The gold rods, I'm selling to a buddy at work. He really likes them. He really wants them. I've been telling him about them all this time. I said, as soon as I get these reviews done, they're yours. I made him a good deal for them. That'll give me some cash to do some more stuff, to do reviews and giveaways. So bottom line, what do I think? Who are these rods for? Obviously, number one, if you're a fan of the GOOGAN Squad, you are going to love these rods. 2 different color choices and good, solid, quality rods. Now, final impression, the greens, the price point can't be beat. If you get these off of their website at that discounted price, it's hard to beat. And again, if you're shopping at Dick's or other places and you can get discounts and stuff like that where you can get kind of cover that discount, if you can get these for around $79, to me that's a good deal. This is a really good rod, especially for newer anglers. It's super light, it's tough. I would take this over a lot of the stuff that I find in most of the stores, including the loose crush combos that I have sitting behind me. I mean, these are a really, really durable rod, and I beat them up quite a bit. But again, if you're a Googie hater, you're not gonna like it. You're gonna find fault with it. If you're somebody who doesn't know who the GOOGAN Squad is and you just stumble across these in the store, I think you'll be pretty impressed with them. Again, light, inexpensive, solid guide, solid blank, great idea as far as the action, showing the action, having the measuring on it, and a aesthetically pleasing rod. If you have any comments, drop them down below. I'm sure it's going to ruffle some feathers, and I'm sure for the Googie fans, they're going to agree with me as well. They're a good, solid rod. But again, this is just my unbiased opinion. I get nothing from nobody for any of this. I'm just trying to share my opinions with you so you can make informed buying decisions. Until next time, get outside when you can. Make some memories. One cast at a time.